fellow Kiss fans, welcome to It's All For You Demons, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. And tonight, we're celebrating being a nerd. I know I mentioned being a nerd last week, and mentioned that we may be going into a nerd direction. Tonight, we're going full on board with that nerd direction, and I'll explain more later. First, I apologize if this episode gets wordy. I just got a lot to say and a lot of nerd avenues to pursue. So let's just get right into Hotface. This week's Hotface, I'll start with last Sunday, July 13th. It was 1 month of Pee-wee's passing, and I don't know, like, I wouldn't say depressed, but I was pretty down, and Pee-wee's passing, like, hit me harder than I thought it would. And I think it's because I built so much with these dogs. They weren't just my dogs, they were this channel. You know, I started this channel with them, because of them, and after Pee-wee's passing, it really felt hard to make these videos. Not hard in like a depressing way, but hard in like, this isn't working anymore. Like, she was my comedy foil, you know? She was the one I could rely on to be stupid and be silly, more stupid and silly than myself, and that was gone. I love Strutter Boy to death, but he's just so chill. Like, I needed that bigness again, and I was pretty depressed, pretty down, and so I just put pen to paper and I wrote a post on Instagram, turned off the comments. It wasn't an attention seeking thing. It was just this is how I'm feeling. I don't feel right doing this channel anymore, and here it is. And so I put it all out there. The next day, I received a postcard from my buddy Glenn, and just proves that the world is freaking magical. I've said this before in videos, but I'll say it again. After Large Marge's passing, I would take Pee-wee outside to do her business, out front with a leash on, and when the moon was a crescent moon, it would look exactly like the Creatures of the Night photo I made of Large Marge and Pee-wee. It would look like Large Marge's eye, and I would always say, Large Marge is watching over us, Creatures of the Night style. Well, the day after my down post about Pee-wee on Instagram, I receive a postcard from my buddy Glenn that just says this. Tell me that is not magical. This postcard had to be sent before I even made that post, and to receive this felt like I was in safe hands with my two girlies out there somewhere in interstellar space, and they are watching over me, this channel, and we're going to continue to have nerd fun. And part of that nerd fun is always this little guy, Strutter Boy, who is the world's smallest boy ever, and now his sister, Shandi, who is the world's goofiest girl. She's 6 years old. She was a surrender due to her owner passing away, and no family member could take her. She was at KC Pet Project and been there for about a week. Magically, again, because of life is magical, my wife took Pee-wee's food in to donate it to KC Pet Project, and this little girlie looked up at my wife, and now she's in our house. And yes, new co-star, Sister Shandi. And little boy says, I enjoy Sister Shandi. We're best friends. So that goes it for my Hotface today. Friday night was a little crazy. Brand new dog in the house, but as you saw at the opening of this video, they are BFFs. Strutter Boy just doesn't like to be filmed, and so that was another reason why it was kind of hard making these videos without Pee-wee, because Strutter Boy hates the camera and just kind of stares at it like Cindy Brady.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the...
But now we have two dogs named after two Paul Stanley singles. Strutter, Shandi, what is your Hotface? Leave those below, and let's wax. And now for some explanation into tonight's episode. Totally going nerd, totally going kind of off the track of how we've done this show for, my goodness, past 8 years? That's crazy. And I've realized throughout the run of my channel here, I've never really done album reviews. I'm horrible at album reviews. I'm not comfortable doing album reviews. And so I've always stayed away from those and always tried to keep it like fun, merch fun, fan fun, Phantom of the Park fun. I've always just tried to keep it down a road of fun. But I thought, we've done so much merch stuff this year, like every week has been a piece of merch. I thought I need to kind of mix it up a bit. So I thought, let's give album reviews a go. But I'm horrible at them and I don't like them. So I'm going to do nerd album reviews. Me, my views, my nerddom, my relationship with this band, which has been based on nerd fun from day one. I'm not an average Kiss fan. I'm really not. Like, my thoughts on Kiss, most people are like, the fuck is wrong with you? Because I'm a nerd. And so that's what we're going to do. We are going nerd with Kiss, and tonight we are going nerd with the debut record. So, how does one go nerd with album reviews? Like this. My copy of the debut record on vinyl, I believe to be a Frankenstein copy, and this is why. Side 2 starts with Deuce, No Kissin' Time. So this is a very first pressing jacket with No Kissin' Time. However, the album inside does contain Kissin' Time, and we have the Kiss logo underneath the hole, so all of you vinyl people who know all of that trickery and what that means, I'm not one of those people, so you guys can tell me. Kissin' Time is present on the vinyl. How does one explain a No Kissin' Time jacket with a Kissin' Time vinyl? Granted, could have been switched up over the years, but any Kiss collector who has 2 debut records, you're going to be sure to keep the No Kissin' Time version with your No Kissin' Time jacket. I'm thinking this was a printing press mishap. I'm thinking there were more jackets without Kissin' Time while they started pressing the Kissin' Time vinyls. And so they were just using jackets left over, and a non-Kissin' Time jacket was sent out with Kissin' Time. Next up, you know I'm a grandma and I love like vintage looking 60s, 70s stuff. I'm just a sucker for that. Couches, Afghans. I'm a grandma at heart. I love Murder, She Wrote. The Hard Goods sampler. Love this album cover. Total grandma house. Jukebox. Look at that chandelier. Look at the model. Look at those fun bags. From a vintage grandma point of view, you have to love this album cover alone. But side 3 starts out with Strutter. And there you have Strutter as the beginning of side 3. I know my buddy FL Dog likes this record. I could not make my way through this record. Beyond Strutter, it was a no-go for me. I only listened to Strutter on this, but it's part of nerdery fun for the Wax Night Basement review of Kiss. And you can't really think of the debut record without thinking of Wicked Lester, and one nerd avenue the Wax Night Basement loves about the first record is the Wicked Lester demo. And when I first learned that the Wicked Lester album cover was photographed and then archived by the record company at the time and then reused by a band called the Laughing Dogs, that was a big must to find a Laughing Dogs record. And Danny and I found one in Westport when I was in college. Bought it for like $5, and it is the Laughing Dogs record using the Wicked Lester artwork. There is little Wicked Lester himself. And I guess one thing we should have tried to do in New York is find these steps. I'm sure somebody has, but that is a cool album cover with amazing Kiss history in it. I should redo this photo of myself and Shandi and little Strutter Boy on a set of steps. That'd make a good sticker. And then speaking of Wicked Luster, the summer after my senior year, Danny and I again were in Westport because St. Joe didn't have a lot of record stores, so Westport had all the cool record stores in Kansas City, so we would take a drive from St. Joe to Westport quite often with Brett and go Kiss hunting. And right around Revenge, we were at a CD store, I can't remember the name of it, Penny Lane Records in Westport, and they had a lot of Revenge promo stuff out, and we were too naive to ask for it or to ask to buy it, but I remember that. And the fever of Revenge was huge, and while we were looking through the Kiss CDs, because this is the high school collection era of getting that back catalog, we found the Wicked Luster demos, and it is this Kiss Deuce CD that is both the Wicked Luster demos and the Kiss 74 demos. And I remember loving, we always heard a lot about Sweet Ophelia, but I don't care for that song. I loved She because it is so Jethro Tullish. I love She anyway, my favorite all-time Gene Simmons song, and I love how many versions of She there are. Wicked Luster, Dressed to Kill, Alive, Double Platinum, such a good song. And then I also love the very last track of the Wicked Luster demo or album is We Want to Shout It Out Loud. And I remember back then Danny and I being like, what in the heck is this? Like, this is not Shout It Out Loud. This is a completely different song, and it's completely awesome. Like, just has that soothing 1978 Gene Simmons solo album vibe, and it's just such a cool song. Little do we know, you learn as you grow, it's an old Hollies song. So it's a cover, but also probably led them down the path of writing Shout It Out Loud. The Wicked Luster demo and the Kiss demo on this CD from 1992, just a stupid bootleg CD. I love the high school collection era. 90s and CD buying. That's the juice of my early fandom. So there you go. And it's All For You Demon album review. And we're probably going to do the entire catalog like this. An album review in It's All For You Demon nerd style. And it's just going to be the fun of being a Kiss fan and the fun of these albums. For me, growing up to adulthood, nerd fun. And I know it's hard for you guys to believe that these dogs would sleep during the outro, but I swear to God, it's like Larmar and Pee-wee were reincarnated and came back as one dog to live in this house. And there's an odd similarity to this dog and my very first dog, Daisy. So this week I discovered that life truly is freaking magical, and I'm tapping into that magic. And I thank you for tapping into nerdery fun with me here in the Wax Night House. Be good to your babies. Spay, neuter, microchip. Take care. Be safe. We will talk to you soon.
I said